Good morning, my beloved students. How are you today? Today we are going to have a convention or grammar lesson related to the types of dependent clauses. I will go directly to your book and check the parts you have, and then I will go to the details that I have prepared for you. If you check your own book, you will see these sections in it. We have three types of clauses. We have adverb clause, relative clause or adjective clause, and a noun clause. Regarding the adverb clause as written here, the adverb clause acts as an adverb in a sentence. It begins with a subordinating conjunction such as though, if, when, or because. And this is an example. Move down here. Okay, adverb clause, this is an example. Because Killer could not see or hear, she struggled to understand language. So the sentence because, or the clause because Killer could not see or hear, this is called adverb clause. And it acts as an adverb. Adverb for which verb? For the verb struggled. So because Killer could not see or hear, what did she do? She struggled to understand language. How did we know that this is an adverb clause? We go back again to the adverb clause. It says adverb clause acts as an adverb in a sentence. It begins with a subordinated conjunction. So if you have a subordinated conjunction like a clause beginning with although, if, when, or because, this is what this is. Yes, excellent, adverb clause. Number two, relative or adjective clause. Relative or adjective clause acts as an adjective. It describes something. It gives more details about it. It usually begins with a relative pronoun, such as who, whom, whose, which, or that. Again, a relative or adjective clause acts as what? Yes, acts as an adjective. What does it begin with? It actually begins with a relative pronoun, such as who, whom, whose, which, or that. Give me an example. This is an example of the relative clause or adjective clause. Anne Sullivan, who was her teacher, helped Killer break through the barriers that challenged her. So, who was her teacher gives more detail about Anne Sullivan, and it begins with a relative word which is who is here a relative pronoun, and gives more details about Anne. So, who was her teacher acts as an adjective, modifying Anne Silver and giving more details about her. Okay? So if you have a sentence like that, between two commas, begin with who, which, or in other relative words. So this is called relative clause or adjective clause. Why? Because it gives more details about the person preceding or before it. Move to the third kind, which is a noun clause. A noun clause acts as a noun, so it begins with a word such as what, whatever, when, where, how, or why. Again, a noun clause acts as what? Yes, acts as a noun. And it actually begins with a word such as what, whatever, when, where, how, or why. Move to the example for the noun clause, which begins with a what, where, whatever, when, how, or why. Killer made the connection between the feel of the water and what Sullivan was writing on her hand. If you see the second clause here, what Sullivan was writing on her hand. This clause acts as a noun, and it's actually the object of the preposition between. Okay, so we have three types of clause. We have adverb clause, begins with some words. As we can go up, you can see it. Adverb clause begins with although, if, when, or because. Although, if, when, or because. And it acts as an adverb in a sentence, and it should start with any one of these words. Like this example, because killer could not see or hear, she struggled to understand language. The second one, relative or adjective clause, acts as an adjective, and it usually begins with a relative pronoun such as who, whom, whose, which, or that. Like that, this example. Anne Sullivan, who was her teacher, helped Killer break through the barriers that challenged her. So, who was her teacher? Acts as an adjective and gives more details about Anne Sullivan. The last one, which is a noun clause, acts as a noun, and it begins with a word such as what, whatever, when, where, how, or why. Like this example, Killer made the connection between the feel of the water and what Sullivan was writing on her hand. So what Sullivan was writing on her hand actually acts as a noun, and it's the object of the preposition between. Okay, I have prepared some illustrations for you here. We need to go deeper into these kinds. And I will speak generally first and then go specifically about the parts we have in your own lesson. In fact, we have three type of clauses. We have independent clause, dependent clause, and relative clauses. For the independent clauses, they have a subject and a verb and can stand alone. Like this example, the doctor finished the examination. This is independent clause. Students leave the campus when class is over. This also independent clause. Why? Because they can stand alone. So if they can stand alone, no need for any other sentence. This is called independent clause. Dependent clause, the dependent clause actually have subjects and verbs, but they cannot stand alone. So the dependent clause, like independent clause, they both have subject and a verb. But the main difference is that the dependent clause can stand alone, but the independent clause cannot stand alone. Okay? So dependent clauses usually begin with a subordinating conjunction, such as although, because, when, since, if, unless, etc. Like that one, because I left early. So what happened? Because you left early, what happened after that? We don't know. If we find my notebook, what will happen? We still don't know. We don't have much details about it. That's why it's dependent, because it depends on the second sentence to have a comprehensive meaning. Dependent clause require complete thought to make them complete. Written alone, dependent clause creates suspense for what is about to come, like a cliffhanger in a story. Because a rattlesnake has made a home under our bed, what happened? We still don't know. So it's like we want really to know what happened. So this is like a suspense or cliffhanger. You want to know more details about that. Okay, so we have this example. Because a rattlesnake has made a home under our bed, we purchased Coyote to live with us. Examples of independent clauses. Although I spent 3 hours studying, where is the second sentence? We don't have it. Because children had hidden the key, if students sign up early, etc. So we don't have the second part of the sentence. So the sentence here or the clause here is dependent. Okay, relative clauses. Relative clauses are easy to recognize because they begin with who, which, or that. They are not questions, but are parts of sentences. Mike, who usually finishes first, was unable to outrun me. So, who usually finishes first is called a relative clause, and it describes Mike. Pasta, which is included in most diets, has a lot of carbohydrates. So, which is included in most diets, this is a relative clause and gives more details about pasta. The toys that the dog chewed up must be thrown out. So that the dog chewed up is called a relative clause and gives more details about the toys. Okay. Um, so for the clauses we have independent clause like main clause. It doesn't need any other sentence to depend on it. Like broccoli is my favorite food. And the second type dependent clause because broccoli is my favorite food, it needs thought to complete it. We need another idea. We need another sentence to have a full meaning. Relative clause, broccoli, which is my favorite food, is tasty. So, which is my favorite food gives more details about broccoli. Okay, this is one of the illustration I have prepared for you. Still, I have more illustration, but this depends on the time. Yeah, I guess we need to hammer on the grammar. That's why I just need to give more details about that. Also, this is a good thing for you because having a good repertoire for grammar is essential and crucial for you. We have clauses, sentence structure, and practice, independent. As I just said, we have independent clause and dependent clause. Independent clause, they can stand alone as a short sentence, like Jim can track. Dependent clause contains subject and the verb, and they not a complete thought, like they needed a second sentence to complete them. Like when Jim studied in the sweet shop for his chemistry quiz, what happened next? Not a complete thought. We don't know what happened next. You know, it's dependent when, after, although, as if, because, before, even if, even though, if, in order to, since, though, unless, until, whatever, when, whenever, whether, and while. If you have any one of these connector and you don't have a second sentence, this is dependent one. Which is which? When Jim ran track, he stayed in really good shape. So Jim studied in the sweet shop for his chemistry quiz, but it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. So if you have one of these connectors like when, but, and that, this is dependent clause. Okay, when you know it's independent when independent marker works. You have although, constantly, consequently, furthermore, however, moreover, nevertheless, therefore. If you have any one of these connectors, or coordinate conjunction like and, but, for, or, nor, so, and yet. These are like indicator for the independent clause. We have sentence structure, as we said. Together we have simple, sentence, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. So these are the different kinds of the sentence. We have also sentence type. We have declarative and imperative, interrogative, exclamatory. If you remember, just this is a revision for them. And like if you need them, really, I can send it to you also. So these are the type of clauses that we have for today. We have a variety of clauses and a variety of sentence types and phrases, but I just need not want to keep you out of the track. I want to keep you on the same track of grammatical rule. So I have more than one illustration, and if you need any one of them, I can actually send them to you. This is upon your own request. Okay, so this is like a full summary for the parts. We have the independent sentence or the independent clause and the dependent one. The independent clause doesn't need any sentence to complete it because it really has a full meaning. But the dependent one actually needs a sentence to complete it because it doesn't give a full meaning. Okay. So these are the different types of the sentence, and these are some more examples. If you are eager to have this one, I actually welcome any opportunity to send them to you. This is a comprehensive illustration. This is our lesson for today, the difference between the adverb clause, relative clause, and noun clause. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Have a nice morning, and please do not forget to answer the homework and send it to me. And I do advise you to listen a lot to English and to even speak to yourself or any one of your partners at home. Thank you so much, and